we're so happy to be here with you guys. We've had a long day. Casey was out in our backyard filming for our second virtual camp, which is called Unleashed. We're gonna unleash the beast in you guys. It's pretty exciting. So our first camp was the fundamentals, basically going over the basics of movement, of volleyball skills and technique, mindfulness and strength training. And Unleashed is more to get you game ready, tournament ready. So it's more dynamic. It's a deeper dive, and we're really getting you to be explosive and ready to compete and to dominate.
On the weight training side, the volleyball side is broken down into technique, and you can rep out as much as whatever level you are physically at that time. You're going to be stronger in 3 weeks, and we're trying to get you prepared for it's time to play. But first, what we always preach and teach is fundamentals. So this is like what a weekend warrior would be able to use for 3 weeks, or a high level professional athlete, or someone just starting out in the game. There's a lot of different variables with it, but the ABCs of it are the focus.
Yeah.
And we're working on the technique of the game, whether it's footwork, getting your platform out, and then we're working on the dynamic. It's like a 1-2-3 combination. It's really fun, and the reason it's really fun for me is because we believe so much in it, and it's so important that we can't help but continue to pound that same nail in, that is talking about the fundamentals and how important they are, and how it raises your level so much faster. You can become such a better volleyball player if you do this over and over and over again early, so that it's ingrained in you, and then you can become that big giant eagle spreading your wings, because you figure out the ABCs meshed with who you are as an individual, and you put it all together, and that's what becomes the unique athlete that you are.
Yeah. You know what's so cool? On all of our Zoom calls, I've gotten the question, I don't know if you have either, also, but they say, how do I jump higher? How do I move my feet faster? And, everyone wants to be so dynamic, and they're like, how do I have best court vision, and how do I hit harder? And the answer always comes back to have great technique, right? Get your feet to the ball, have your feet under you for hitting harder, stay behind the ball, and all of that is footwork and timing. And it's these things that are tedious to train, but they're so valuable because it will show in every single skill if you can have the proper technique. And so we pound that into people because we pound it into ourselves because we see results. So it's pretty exciting. We want to get the volleyball community and the athletic community to think a little bit differently. Everyone wants the big hit, everyone wants the sexy, sassy stuff, and we want that too, but we know that that's built upon the really simple, basic, fundamental things in life. Yeah?
In every aspect.
In every aspect.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what are we talking about today? We're talking about funds, cash.
The financial side of playing volleyball, or pro beach volleyball. We'll stick to pro beach volleyball.
How
today.
to be broke and still be a pro.
Oh.
No. Right?
So I think what you just said
Seriously.
is that it's a challenge.
It's
to
a challenge.
be a pro beach volleyball player.
Even when we were up and coming.
Yeah.
I mean, that's when it was. We were broke, but we practiced as if we were already professionals. We practiced the same, but we just had to have another job to subsidize until we got on to that platform and became professionals, where we made enough money and had sponsors to do it full time.
Yeah. I think it would be cool if we kind of shared a little bit of our journey, because like you just said, initially when everyone makes a transition from college or wherever you're at to the pros, you generally have to have a side hustle or a couple side hustles to pay the bills. So Monday through Friday you have a job and you train as well, so you can play on the weekend and ideally make more money. So what were some of the jobs you did? Because I know you've had like 101 jobs.
Well, I just thought of something.
Incredible.
Kerri's first job that she did. We're not going to tell you. You can't tell them, because I think that we should. I'll do a little ad lib on a prize giveaway.
Oh.
If you guess what Kerri did, what her first job was before she became a professional volleyball player, I'll send you a goodie bag. It depends who you are. We'll have a couple options. I'll have Lisa put it out there.
So family's not allowed to
No.
participate?
Well, whoever
No
gets
cheating.
it right. You just got to
Exactly.
get it right. And I can't give, like, if 10 people get it right, I got to pick the first one. But, maybe it's a hat, I'll send you a shirt, but I'm going to send you something. And you got to guess what it is. And I just am curious. Have you told a lot of people?
I mean, it's not state secret for sure, but I don't know who pays attention to that stuff.
Anyway, it's pretty awesome.
Okay, well, let's just talk about the investment for volleyball. Okay, so when you're a pro beach volleyball player, you pay to work, basically. Monday through Friday, you're training. So we have to pay for our coaches. We have to pay for our trainers. When tournament time comes,
or the gym.
First,
it was a gym for me. I didn't have a trainer yet.
Yeah. Okay.
But I was valeting cars. I was giving lessons later on. I was a busboy in junior college, and then when I met Kerri, I was giving lessons and coaching. Mm-hmm. And when I would go to the beach and give lessons, because I had like a AAA, I qualified a couple times, and people wanted me to teach them how to play the game, I took that money that I made and would go and give that same cash to the coach that taught me, Dane Selznick. And so we invested in ourselves. I had a guy one time say, "Do your parents pay for everything? Like, how do you train all the time?" I wanted to punch him in the mouth. I was so mad because I was all in. I was doing credit cards, I was working, and I had all these different jobs, and I was paying for everything, and somebody thought that I was like doing this, and that's what gave me the passion, is that I didn't want to do these jobs for the rest of my life, and I was going to get to be a professional beach volleyball player, so I invested in myself. And I think that's the biggest problem today is beach volleyball. I think a lot of the pros that I know want stuff for free because they don't have any money. They're not making any money, but at the same time, it's all pro bono stuff. Like, hey, we'll give you hats if you wear it. I'm sponsored by so and so, and they're wearing a hat. Where, nuh-uh, man, I was getting paid to wear hats, and you were getting paid to wear bikinis and visors and sunglasses, and we had great sponsors, but it didn't happen like that. We had to earn it.
For sure. Yeah, and I think that's something really valuable for newbies out there. It's like, where do you start? Start by working your butt off, investing in yourself, with training, strength training, your coaches, whatever it is, if you can afford that. That's important. That's how you, climb the ladder faster. And then get support. Like, I think one of the things that you have to be in beach volleyball is very resourceful. If you want to live this amazing lifestyle and play this amazing sport that costs a lot of money, you have to be resourceful. And for us, I think we always looked for authentic fits. We never wanted to represent a company that we didn't believe in. I know my standards, I've been able to be more discerning because I'm not as desperate. Sometimes you just take what you can get and you be the best ambassador you can be, even if it's not the best fit. But early on, you kind of generally take what you can. And I say start locally. A lot of players, it's so wonderful if you have relationships that you've built over your whole life. People know you as, your character, what you stand for, and they support you as an athlete. Go talk to the local market. Go talk to a local insurance guy. They'll help support you and travel. And I think there's a lot of athletes these days that are doing that, and it's a good model to start from, for sure.
Yeah, or find a profession. Hi, Scout. Come in here.
What you need, love?
Come sit right between us. We're talking finances. But yeah, and you got to find a job that, is, sometimes like real estate is a great job for a professional beach volleyball player. But if you commit to that, it's just because of the hours. But I bust tables because it was late at night, and I would get up in the morning and be able to train all day, and then I'd bust tables and valet tables. So it worked out. You have to pick the right job. If you can nanny and babysit at night and train in the day, there's all kinds of creative ways, I think, that you can find something that fits. But I think that it makes you hungrier. It helps you be like, I don't want to do this. And what Kerri was saying, I did have some sponsors, alcohol sponsors early in my career, that I don't think I would have necessarily go back and do again. It was a good deal, but it didn't represent me, and I had shorts on that said, alcohol company on there, and I felt hesitant to give it to teenage kids. Like, if I were going to give them a hat and it had that on there, I was just like, this doesn't feel good. And so now, later on in the career, it was, you had earned a certain status and obviously finances were much better, but I think the earlier you can do that and commit to you and the so-called sell out because you're just getting paid, like it's hard to pass that up, but I think it's really important for your future to represent what you want to represent, like Kerri's saying, and stay true to who you are and what you do love and what you do eat and what you do drink, instead of just taking something that's like, well, I don't drink this ever in my whole life, but I'm going to try to sell it to you and promote this product that I don't believe in and that has 8,000 grams of caffeine and sugar in it. And I'm not going to do that anymore. Like, you couldn't.
Yeah. And if you believe in it or if you support that, then that's okay.
Sure.
No judgment whatsoever.
No,
we're all different, and that's the beauty of America. And
if you're all in
being
on
independent,
it, and you know, you want a tequila to represent, and you like tequila, and you sip it, and you got it under control, and that's not what I'm alluding to. It's if you have to believe in it.
Yeah, it's helpful. Yeah, but it's an expensive sport to play. You know, I think the number one player in the domestic tour last year here in America made nearly 60 grand on the men and women's side. So that's the number one player. So fancy yourself the fifth player in America or the 10th. You're not making a lot of money because, again, you have to pay to travel, pay for hotels. I know there's some subsidies now with regard to hotels and stuff internationally on the FIVB and on the domestic tour, but it's expensive, you know. And one of the most beautiful things I think about our sport is that people love it so much. They love the lifestyle. They love the weekends where there are tournaments that they're willing to sacrifice. You know, we have so many young athletes who stay at their parents' house longer so they can save money and travel the world and chase their dreams. You have a lot of volleyball players, you know, being roommates and sleeping 4 people to an apartment, whatever it is, you know, sleeping 4 people to a hotel room on the road. People are making it work, and I think that's the beautiful side of the sport, and I know that's one side of the sport that we want to change because we want to elevate it and bring more money within it. You know, when there's only so many tournaments to go around, and there's so few choices for the athletes are kind of slaves to those choices, and so we want to create more opportunity and more choices for the athletes. But ultimately, I think what it comes down to for the athletes, you know, funding their labor of love, it's you have to build your own brand. And something that I learned, I've been a pro for 20 years. I think my first endorsement came when Misty and I joined the AVP in 2003. We sat out 2 years to play the domestic tour, or to play only internationally, while there was a contract dispute. And my first sponsorship came in 2003. And so for 15 years, I had amazing partners, but what I didn't do, I let my agents take care of everything. And I didn't build a relationship with the brands myself. You know, when I would have a work day, I'd give it everything, and I always loved everyone I met, but I didn't nurture and foster those relationships. And now, fast forward 20 years, it's like I feel like I've missed out on really creating lasting relationships with people in the brand world who help me subsidize my life. I have great partnerships. Now I have great relationships with the people I deal with at the brands. But I think for all you up and comers, you know, really nurture the relationships and do the outreach yourself. And if you do have an agent, make sure that your agent isn't separating you from talking to the brand. You know, because those people can impact your life for a long time. And ideally, the perfect brand partnership is something that you grow with over a long time. It's not just a contract period, but you fall so in love with each other and are so aligned that you can keep growing. And so one recommendation that I would have was just spend the time getting to know the people you're working with, because that's such a worthwhile use of time.
Yeah, and it's a lot different now. You know, it's just different. It's not going back to the heyday or when we played. It's Kerri's still playing. I just finished because I didn't feel there was anywhere else to grow in the sport for me or make a living at it. But we had 18 tournaments at one point, AVP tournaments in the United States. 16 and 14 was like the average. And so we were like NASCAR drivers. We had Toyota and Gatorade, and I had a VB Rags clothing company, Quicksilver, and, you know, Rockstar energy drink. And it was crazy. And I just think that now it's so much more difficult. You have to be creative. You have to understand that about the sport. You have to truly love it. Has to be you just, the passion has to be high, obviously, because you're not, you know, I was always like, I'm gonna make a living, this is what I'm gonna do. And, you know, now it's so hard to, that love I have for the sport, to be a professional. I just want to work so hard that it becomes to a point where you can be a professional, you can travel the world. This is all you do, eat, sleep, and drink.
Yeah.
Beach volleyball as a professional, because this is what you're getting paid to do. And I hope that we can help subsidize what's already been given to you right now and make it bigger and better and stronger and more viable for you to be an athlete, which makes the United States stronger in every way. The Olympics, and we have a presence in beach volleyball, because if we thank God for college
Our feeder system.
beach volleyball right now, because that is what's keeping us afloat as far as the Olympics, I believe, and the men will shortly follow. Hopefully we have it for men's in college.
Yeah.
So I don't know, there's rabbit holes you can just dive down and go deep into with all of it.
Well, I think what I would like to leave people with is like, so you have to kind of see what you're working with, and then you can kind of realize how much money you need to play the sport.
Yeah.
Right? So think of your travel costs, your training costs, all these things, put it in different buckets and say, okay, I need $5,000 for the summer to play beach volleyball. Who can I reach out to do that? And just do that in every bucket that you need. And it just is like, how do you eat an elephant? A bite at a time, bite-sized pieces. So take this elephant and cut it into bite-sized pieces and then go attack the problem. And it's fun. Obviously there's so much more outreach. You can build your brand in a minute online with social media. And if you can make yourself attractive because you're an authentic human who stands for something, that's a beautiful thing. So leverage that, and, don't learn the hard way. Just, you be you. And that's the best, advocacy you can have for yourself. And, just play with all your heart.
And someone would say, why would I want to chase this dream? I can't make a living at it. I can't do well at it. I'm going to pay a coach. I'm going to pay a trainer. I'm going to pay for a gym, a facility. I'm going to invest in myself. I'm going to go to the Olympics. I was searching for the argument on this, because I was like, gosh, how do you and what I came up with is the life lessons that you get, the journey that brings with beach volleyball, and the love that you have for it it supersedes all of that. And I remember Michael Jordan said I'd play basketball if I didn't make any money at it, and I said, I want to be like, would you? But he probably would have, and he probably would have made it work, and it would have been a passion for a long time for him. But it's the journey, it's the lessons along the way that you learn, it's the people you meet and marry, and the life that you live behind all of that financial side of it that is most important, and the thing that you gain most from.
Yeah.
So that's my answer to myself.
Yeah, it's worth it.
Young Casey Jennings out there.
It's worth it for sure. So it's just one of those things that, with every great thing comes the challenges, and this is a challenge in our sport, but things are changing. The wave that comes with the Olympic movement for our sport, volleyball, indoor and beach, is ginormous. And so now is a great time for every volleyball player to build their brand and to outreach, and because the tidal wave is coming. So leverage that. I was thinking when I played indoor, when I was on the national team, it took me a while to become a starter, and I'm pretty sure I made $1,000 a month, but all my expenses were paid for. And then I became a starter, and right before my first Olympics in 2000, I got a raise. I got a $200 raise, and I was making $1,200 a month.
But they're paying for food
for
and rent.
everything.
They're
but
paying
it was
for everything. So
I
some
know
people would
it's
dive on that.
way different. I know it's way different nowadays.
Take it and run
on the indoor game. Like if you're a starter, you're making pretty good money, and you can play overseas. We chose to play beach because I didn't want to go play overseas. I didn't want to spend I'm not tough enough. I don't want to be away from my family. But indoor money is guaranteed. If you have a reputable club that they pay you, the indoor money is guaranteed. Beach, it's a risk. But in our opinion, the lifestyle and the rewards of it are well worth the risk. So
you set your path.
Yeah. All right, so we have some time for questions, and I know some of you guys have been sending them in. So Lisa, what do we got?
Let's see, we have Terry in. She asked this last week as well. What encourages you to practice volleyball even when you don't want to? So basically, what encourages you?
Oh, yeah, well, so Terry, I don't know if you're just talking about in the time of Corona or COVID-19, but what keeps me going when I don't necessarily want to practice is my goals. I have goals, and my goals really mean something to me. They're thoughtful. They're not just something I say to make myself feel special. If I say something, it means I'm committed to it. And so I show up because once the decision is made, the decision is made. If that's not enough for me to get me out of bed, I will think about the people I'm doing it with and for. I think about my husband, who's my coach. I think about Coach Kyode over in Brazil, and I think about my amazing partner, Brooke Sweat. I don't want to leave anyone hanging. And if I'm going to cheat on myself, that means I'm cheating on them too. So that's enough for me, for sure.
I think that if it's hard to go to practice, like sometimes it'll be cold and windy here and you're like I can miss this day, but then when you put it into perspective is what am I going to gain from it? There's a lot. And I was telling we had a Zoom call the other day, and I said I'm going to be a professional volleyball player. That's going to be my living. I'm going to win tournaments, and I'm going to be a champion, and I'm going to go to the Olympics and win a gold medal. And one thing I didn't say was that I'm going to be the best player that ever played the game. And I wish I had said that to my young teenage self. I wish I would have set an even higher goal that other people thought that it was ridiculous for me to chase as is, but I didn't. I never did. And so for me, I feel that I fell short in saying, why didn't I say I wanted to be the greatest player of all time? Like, how did I not latch onto that? I just thought I wanted to be great and be a champion and make a living at it and be my job, and I did. But like, think about if you're having a problem going to practice, then what do you want to do? Do you want to be a pretty good volleyball player? Do you want to be the best that you can be? Do you want to be the greatest player that ever lived? Like, think about the sacrifice that, those are the days you should go to practice. I guess what I'm saying is those are the days where you just say, today I don't want to go, and I'm going to go because it's hard. And when you do something that's hard and difficult, that's when you get the most reward out of it. But if your muscles are really fatigued and you've been going for 10 days in a row and someone's telling you to go to practice and you need to rest, that's different. You got to rest. You got to chill out. That's not pushing yourself. That's hurting yourself. There's a big difference.
Yeah. Kobe Bryant said he wouldn't allow that inner voice to negotiate with himself. If he made the decision, if he committed, when that voice would show up, he'd just shut it up. No, I'm not negotiating with myself. This is non-negotiable. So that's why I think what Casey's saying, know what you want, because if you want it bad enough, then that moment of weakness, it'll be a blip. And also, quitting is a habit, just like winning is a habit. And if you get in the habit of quitting, giving yourself excuses, unless they're real, that's a problem. And it's a slippery slope. So train yourself to be committed. Distraction is being trained in all of us. So let's stop that and train ourselves to focus and to commit. That's invaluable.
Okay, we have another question. Eric Simmons, he's here every week.
Birthday boy.
Yeah, birthday
That's
boy.
sweet.
He asked what you've been up to during coronavirus.
Oh.
Naps and Netflix. That's just pretty much it.
We see some good movies, but
we're working our butts off. We're creating virtual training. We're doing Zooms. We're raising 3 children.
yeah.
I set my alarm on my phone for a 10-minute nap today, and I fell asleep for 9.5 minutes, and it was pretty good.
Eric, we're so busy. We launched our 2 virtual camps, which is so exciting. If you're bored or if you're curious, you should get on board because it's really fun. And it gives you something to do every day and something to look forward to. But yeah, we have a very, very full plate. Our kids are busy with at-home schooling. They're doing great. Casey and I, we're busting our butts within 1440 training. He's back to training, which is really exciting. And we're just in the creation process. So every day we're showing up to grow and build the movement that is p1440 because we really want to make an impact in your lives. So that's what gets us out of bed and fired up every day.
Spacesuits, big plastic zipper up the front where we just Corona safe.
We're keeping our immune systems high and we're empowering ourselves to live healthy lives.
We're staying healthy and when it's time to wear the mask, but we're working our butts off right now.
That's kind of a fun conversation to have. I think that we should have when we have more time. But it's just like how we all need to think critically for ourselves. And I don't want to live in fear. I don't want the world to live in fear. And maybe how to empower ourselves in the time of Corona, because I also don't like being told what to do. And we live a very healthy lifestyle for this reason, because we don't want to be host to these things. So that could be a good conversation. The mask just
Mi casa is not su casa
right now.
for the coronavirus. I'm
Yeah.
talking about corona. If I'm talking to corona, mi casa, not su
No.
casa. So you're not going to live here because I'm going to do things that you don't want to be a part of. So beat it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's in our hands.
We can share that stuff later.
Yeah.
Okay. And then last question from Deborah Lopez. What do you say to a gal supposed to graduate in June, going straight to university, and see at California State Universities are pushing volleyball to the spring?
Oof. Man, I say I want to give you a hug. That's got to be hard to swallow. I think the beauty in that is that you have clarity, so you know what you're working with. No one has a leg up. You're all in the same boat. So I think it's your job, and I'll give you sanity, to focus on the good. You know, you have until January to bust your butt and get strong, and you're going to learn how to be a self-guided student and student athlete, and that's going to lead you well for life. So I'm sorry, that's got to be really hard in your heart, but there's so many things you can do, and you can take your destiny and your success in your own hands. And
Wait, so she's a senior or got
she's
recruited?
going to be a freshman in college next year.
And so she's
Yeah.
got to wait a little longer?
Yeah.
So you get to boost that up. When you
Yeah.
come in, you're going to be way better. You're going to be like you're going to be a fresh, almost a sophomore. By the time so you get a lot of work to do. You got to get unleashed and get training. Learn from Tommy Knox, the guy we've used for 20 years. If anything, do the workouts. You have a great opportunity. You get to live with freedom right now.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to be locked down as an athlete in college and busier than you've ever been in your whole life. And you don't know that now, but you have an opportunity to spread your wings and play with freedom, lift weights, do it for fun, do it because you enjoy it and because you know the future holds. A lot of people don't have that discipline right now. They're going to be partying and doing stuff because, oh no, college isn't till, we're not starting till then.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you have a great opportunity to take advantage of this instead of be bummed on it and look at the glass half full and make it an exciting time for yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, I would reach out to your coaches and, wherever you're going, congratulations on going to college to play. That's a big deal. I'd reach out to them and see what they want you to do, and then support that with any outside training that you have. But yeah, it's an opportunity for sure. And I think for all of us with this weird, interesting time, since life is kind of on pause, it's a chance for us to look at ourselves, what we're doing right, what we're doing not great, and we can improve upon that. And for all the youngins, I would say really start to have great habits in your life. Be mindful and, get into routines, and when you commit, and having a great habit, it makes life easier. Not everything is push and pull if it becomes habit. So I'd say hold yourself to high standards, keep your goals in sight, focus on the good, and when things get hard, focus on what you want and make it fun. That's life in a nutshell. But God bless, good luck. You guys.
Rocky 1, Rocky 2, Rocky 3, and Rocky 4. Watch those while you're on break.
Yeah, that's good. p1440.camp. Check it out, you guys. We have all of our virtual summer camp dates. We have many sessions, so you can customize to you guys. It's incredible. Volleyball, strength training, mindfulness training, it's all for you. Whatever level you're at, whatever age you are at, this is for you. It's crazy. Just customize this to you. Our experts are accessible. Casey and I are accessible, and we love it. It's making us stronger and better, so we want that for you. p1440.camp. Yeah? So we'll see you next week. Let us know if you guys want us to talk about anything specific. Write it in. Lisa's taking notes. Let us know on social. If you could all follow on social at Platform1440 and subscribe here on YouTube, that would be great. We'll see you next week.